These properties tell us how we can break apart logarithms. The product property tells us if you have a log of things being multiplied together, so x times y, we can break them up and do the log of each one individually and add those logs together. The same is true with division. You can break it up, but this time you subtract the thing that's on the bottom. And with powers, if you have a log of something to a power, you can bring that power down in front. So I'm going to just start with some basic examples to illustrate what these properties are saying. So you'll have some on your homework that just give you an expression like this and tell you to use the properties to rewrite it. So when I'm looking at this, I have the log of two things being multiplied together. Our properties say we can break that up by doing the log of each one and add those logs together. So it's log base 7, 8 plus log base 7 of 6. You have to have the log base 7 on each of them. That's all we did. So B, log base 6 of 12 over 5. So what do the properties say we can do if something is divided? Break it up and subtract. So it would be log base 6 of 12 minus log base 6 of 5. If there is more than one thing on the bottom, you'll subtract off multiple pieces. We'll see that in a minute. But if I had like the bottom was maybe at 5 times 7, you would then say minus the log base 6 of 7 as well. So if you have two things on the bottom, you subtract them both off. Anything on the top is positive, anything on the bottom is negative. Let's say I gave you log base 2 of the cube root of 9. Keep in mind, a cube root can be written as what kind of power? 1/3. Then the properties of logs tell me what happens to that exponent. Goes down to the front. That's 1/3 times log base 2 of 9. Any questions so far? I want to keep working with these properties, but now I'm going to use some variables in here as well. So same thing, we want to just use the properties to rewrite this. So log base A of x times the square root of x squared plus 1. First of all, you have two things being multiplied, x times that piece. How do we break apart multiplication? We add. It becomes log base A of x plus, you put the log with each one, log base A. If I wanted, instead of a square root, what power could I write? Okay, we can go another step here. What could I do with that 1/2? Exponents come down in front, so I have log base A of x plus 1/2 log base A of x squared plus 1. Okay, a couple questions for you. Can I bring this square down in front? it's an exponent, is this entire thing squared? No. So unless the exponent applies to everything, you can't drop it down. Do we have a property for how to break apart the log of two things being added? No, we can only break apart the multiplication and division. So this is our final answer. We can't go any further. We will need these properties later on when we start solving equations with logarithms in them. And this will allow us to rewrite our equations to get things that we can simplify. So it seems kind of silly right now with what we're doing, but there is a purpose later on. Alright, let's look at this one. The log of x times x plus 2 over x plus 3 squared. Do you think we can do this all in one step, or do you want me to write down everything? Try it in one step. If I confuse you, I can back up. We really have essentially three things here. We have this x. It's being multiplied with the x plus 2. And it's divided by this x plus 3 squared. So how many logs am I going to write? 3. Okay, so for this x, we have log of x. I didn't give you a base. Anytime I don't say the base, it's assumed to be base 10, but you don't have to worry about it. You just don't have to write it either. If I didn't give you a base, you don't have to write a base. It's multiplied with the next one, so we need to add log of x plus 2. Keep that x plus 2 in parentheses. Divided by, subtract, log of x plus 3 squared. So what am I going to do with my square? Alright, and it just goes in front of that term. So it's just minus 2 log base 3 of x. Can you break apart log of x plus 2 or log of x plus 3? No. Things being added, that's as simplified as it gets. One more. Okay, how many things do we have? 3. So we will have 3 logarithms when we go through this. If it is a square root, what kind of power do we write for that? 1/2. So is it okay if I go ahead and just drop that 1/2 down in front? So 1/2 log base a of x squared plus 1. Okay, both of these are on the bottom. So what kind of sign will I do? Will it be adding or subtracting? Subtracting both of them. So minus log base a of x cubed, so what would I need to do there? Alright, take my third power and drop it down in front. This one was also on the denominator, so we also subtract log base a of x plus 1 to the 4th, so I put the x plus 1 and the 4 goes in front. Yes.
Since x cubed and x plus 4
Are multiplied.
why isn't the last subtraction sign?
Okay. So gonna just do a nicer example to illustrate that, if that's okay. If I just said log of 5 over 3x. So you do log of the top minus the log of the bottom. Right? We can break that up. And like you said, they're multiplied, so you end up adding them. So it's log of 3 plus log of x. But then you have to distribute that subtraction. So essentially anything that was on the bottom will get a subtraction in front of it. You're welcome, good question. Anything else? Let's go the other direction. So I'm going to give you the one that's all split apart and you're going to try to put it back together. So our final answer should only have one log on it. And then we just have to figure out what we're doing the log of. Anything that's positive goes on top, anything that's negative goes on the bottom. So this log base 4 of x, that was positive, so it's on the top. Minus log base 4 of y, so y goes on the bottom. Plus, okay, this is a plus, so where does my z go? On the top. It doesn't matter what order they're listed in. If it's a plus, it goes on top. If it's a minus, it goes on the bottom. So this is just log base 4 of xz divided by y. Where is the 4 going to go? Yeah, should make it an r to the 4th. This 5 means it's s to the 5th. So we have log base b of what? Maybe 2 more. Let's say I gave you when we condense this, I only write the log one time. Anything that's positive goes on the top. So if I'm looking at this, I have 3 pieces that were positive. So all that's going on the top. So I have x times 9. Will that confuse you guys if I just write a 9x? If I put the 9 in front, doesn't matter. Times the x squared plus 1. Minus, so divided by the 5. Make sure your log is out in front. It's not like log of the top and the whole thing divided by 5. The log's out in front, and this is what you're doing the log of. Let's do on the top, I have the 4th root of x cubed. What is that as a power? X to the 3/4. This one is minus, so on the bottom, the square root of x would be x to the 1/2. Can we simplify that? X to the 3/4 over x to the 1/2. We can reduce that, can't we? If you're dividing, what do you do with those exponents? Subtract. So 3/4 minus 1/2. Questions there? I'm almost done. I have a couple examples left. So this problem, there are a couple ways to do it. We talked yesterday about what the meaning of a logarithm is. So log base 8 of 2 is like saying 8 to what power equals 2. And you might know that. We could also use our properties. If these logs are added together, we can combine them into 1 by doing what with the 2 and the 4? Multiplying. So I get log base 8 of 8. That's like saying 8 to what power equals 8? 1. So on B, how would I rewrite that one? They're subtracted, so you divide. 18 divided by 3 is 3, and log base, or 6, and log base 6 of 6. Very last example. So you can assume log base 10 of 7 is equal to 0.845. I'm going to use that piece of information to find each of these things. So log base 10 of 49. How could you rewrite 49? 7 squared? Properties of logs, what do you do with that square? So that's 2 times log base 10 of 7, but log base 10 of 7, I told you, is that decimal. And then we can solve. So we can use these properties to evaluate things we may not otherwise be able to. Log base 10 of 70. How could I rewrite 70? Times 7. And we can break apart multiplication by adding. What is log base 10 of 10? 1. Log base 10 of 7. Okay. And then we just add that together. So I might ask you to use those properties to evaluate something. Any questions for me? So today's assignment is on Math Excel. It has questions like yesterday and questions like today. So it's like 24 questions, but there's a lot of really fast ones. you know, just changing something to a logarithm or changing a logarithm to an exponential. So you have the rest of class to work on that and ask me questions.